but you would accept. And that's when the American soldier would be tricked. The prostitute would either blow up, or they would give the American soldier herpes, who would then bring herpes back to the United States, which is why herpes was not in the United States until the 60s, because of the Vietnam War and Vietnamese prostitutes who kept eating dogs and making poopy spike traps. Shinji. The Viet Cong loved to hide in tunnels. Shinji, get down there. The Viet Cong loved to hide in tunnels. They would set traps, usually with punji sticks, which is when you sharpen bamboo and you shit all over it, so that when the American GI steps in it, they get infected with all sorts of horrible diseases, because human feces is one of the most toxic, naturally occurring substances on Earth. No animal can eat our shit and be okay. Even a dog will throw the fuck up. That's how toxic that shit is. And sometimes the Viet Cong will make a surprise visit, but other times the American GI were fucking ready for him.
Hey, I might do a speech, but one thing I have to correct.
Yeah?
It's not $5 sucky anymore, it's $50.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's
but
cool.
Continue, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But yeah, so the Viet Cong would hide in tunnels. Shinji, get in your tunnel. The American soldiers would have to crouch down, usually with a pistol. How the fuck are you gonna have an M1911 in a goddamn Viet Cong tunnel and hold your fucking flashlight, Chad? That's not how it fucking worked. Sometimes, but usually the Viet Cong were sneaky. The Viet Cong would take sharp corners around their tunnels, and then they would ambush the American troops and kill them. Like that. Oh, my spine. And then, of course, the American soldiers would wait with bated breath, hoping that their allies came out of the tunnels. But after a certain while, it's like, well, fuck it, they're probably dead, so they had to burn the tunnels. And of course, the fucking generals in the military-industrial complex of the United States decided, oh hey, this is how we're going to win this war. We're not going to stay on the land that we just fought to capture. We're going to just leave and let the Viet Cong rebuild everything. So the whole cycle would go again and again and again, and all the men who were drafted to Vietnam would come back to a bunch of smelly, bitch-ass hippies spitting on them, calling them baby killer for shit they didn't even want to do. And yeah, that's Vietnam. The Vietnam War ended because, again, President Nixon did not want the peace treaty to go through in the late 60s, so he offered the South Vietnamese president a better deal. This turned out to be a bad idea because the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong, with help of Pol Pot, who they would fight against later on, after China invaded Vietnam when we left, whose ass they soundly kicked, they did one final push to the capital of South Vietnam. And the South Vietnamese people, who were so discouraged by the rampant corruption in their government and the non-stop barrage of North Vietnam, said, fuck it, we quit. In fact, I think they killed their own president, or there was like a coup towards the end or some shit, because they were fucking tired of him.
Weren't they also sick of the Americans being there too?
They were.
Some Vietnamese?
Well, yeah, some Vietnamese were sick of them, others were happy, because the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong were again literally like raping, pillaging, and plundering everything. And again, the Viet Cong were taking kids, and it's like, okay, you're going to be a sex slave or a suicide bomber? With the help of Jane Fonda, who's probably like, come here little boy, I'm an American actress, take this candy.
That's the nicest hair I've ever seen.
Because she's Jane fucking Fonda and she needs to die. But anyway, that's how the Vietnam War ended. We didn't necessarily lose by numbers or being soundly defeated, like how Vietnam soundly defeated China and Pol Pot afterwards, which was really fucking impressive because goddamn we bombed the shit out of them. But still, it's like, the South Vietnamese just gave up. And everyone in America didn't fucking like the war. So it's like, well, fuck. What's the point of being here? Let's get everyone back home before people get really fucking angry. And then, of course, there was still the war in Laos, but that wasn't disclosed or declassified till long after. That's why they call it the Ghost War, because it didn't happen until long after the Vietnam War. Well, they didn't admit it happened until after that. Yes.
Didn't the Vietnam War also start with the French colony of South Vietnam trying to evade from France, and France was having war with them and brought in America, and then France evaded from South Vietnam?
Yes and no, it was very confusing because we were very much against colonization. In fact, after World War II, there's a time where the United States and the USSR joined forces. It's not the Panama Canal, the Suez Canal, somewhere around there. Great Britain and France were trying to annex that part, and both the Soviet Union and the United States, for the first and only time, said, "Fuck you faggots, we're not doing this again," and we soundly defeated them. It was a very small little war that no one really talks about. It's kind of goofy. I wish they would make a movie about it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a goofy movie. I'm now imagining Goofy from Mickey Mouse. But that's how we lost the Vietnam War. It wasn't necessarily because of the people at home or the fact that our troops were being ambushed a lot by the Viet Cong, because we really only lost tens of thousands of men. Yes, that's a lot of people. But in the grand scheme of things, especially when compared to the loss of life from the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong, holy shit, that's pennies on the fucking dollar. And then, of course, Nixon did win his election because, again, he stopped the early peace treaty. And he was able to appeal to the silent majority because he said, enough with these radical hippie communists. But I also don't like these fucking Bible-thumping cunts. I just want shit to be somewhat normal. So people voted for him. Let's see. Another reason why he won is because of the assassination of Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy was killed by a combination of Mossad and CIA forces.
Okay, alright. I think we're done.
Oh.
Everybody round of applause.